Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Dark Side of the Word. My name is Kate, and I'm here with my co host CJ.
Hey, everybody.
And this week's podcast is our content recap where we're going to tell you guys what we've watched, what we've read, anything of the sort, so we can sort out the bad stuff so you don't have to sit and sludge through it like we did.
Indeed.
And to give everyone a quick update on my life, I am in the middle of moving Haven. So if I sound more deranged than usual, there's a reason.
Moving is one of the top, what is it, the top three things that are most stressful. It's getting married, buying a house, and moving. So
Dude,
it's
getting
warranted.
married was way easier to me than what I'm doing now.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, planning a wedding was not fun for me anyway, but definitely buying a house was way more stressful. And I imagine moving from another place would be stressful too. I haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, I'm trying to move across country. I'm
That's hard.
trying to fit my house into a single 6 foot pod, which most
Mm.
people are like, oh, I had a 2 bedroom house. It's so easy. And I sit here like, okay, technically I have a 2 bedroom house, but do you play the drums? Do you have a massive library? Do you have craft supplies? Because now I feel like the amount of stuff I'm packing is equivalent to a 6 bedroom mansion.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I'm not going to move again, even if my house feels too small. I don't want to pack all this shit up because we've been here 8 years. We filled every room, and we don't have like a huge house, but every room is filled. I don't want to pack that shit up again. Nope, staying here.
Exactly. This is the longest I've ever lived somewhere. We've lived in this house for 5 years, and you can tell we've lived in this house for 5 years.
Yeah, it's amazing the crap you can just amass in a short amount of time.
I've already taken uncounted number of trips to donate stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
already having to like get rid of legit furniture in place of books because, books greater than furniture.
Yes, definitely. You can
So
sit
I'm
on books too. They can be furniture.
I'm assuming books are cheaper to replace. Sure. But yeah, so now I'm just in hell. We're trying to pack it up. We're trying to make it fit. It's just stressful. So we're just gonna distract me by talking about what we've consumed in the last 30-ish days.
I think that's a good idea.
And I think a great place to start would be our October reading challenge. Since we're now in November, we have completed, at least I'm hoping, CJ, you completed yours.
All except one, and that's only because it didn't come in from the library.
Boo, don't they know this is important? This is a
I know,
challenge.
right? Well, it's on its way now. On Halloween, I got the notification that it is en route to my library. I'm like, God damn it! But I will take it whenever I can get it
I was
because
gonna
it
say, are
looks
you
like
gonna
it's really good.
still read it now, or are you going to wait
Oh,
till
I'm gonna
like
read it
October?
now. Definitely
Okay,
gonna read it
okay.
now.
Did you read the one with the dad and the girls?
I did. I did read that
Okay,
one.
okay, because I need.
It was Let Me In by William Friend, and it was
Okay.
good. It was that you should not read that because
Oh
there's a
no.
lot of like bed stuff happening.
Oh
That would
God.
freak you out. It would freak you out.
Oh God.
Yeah. It was a good
Well,
read though.
the worst part is I feel like as we're packing up my house, the whatever alternate reality is realizing we're leaving and it's trying to creep in while I'm still here. We've had a few spooky things happen in the house since all of said packing
Really?
up has happened. Yes. So
Really?
I'm really like, oh, I heard footsteps like 2 days ago.
Oh God, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. Oh my God. They say that like when you do like a reno or rearrange things or I guess move, that it can stir up spirit activity. So good
I'm
job.
like refusing to look into my video on this call because I don't want to
Oh
see
God, now I'm gonna be
anything.
scared to look at you the entire time. Oh my God. What do I do if I see something behind you? I have like my other monitor covering up half the screen. What if it appears on that side of the
I
screen and
don't,
I don't
I don't,
see it and then
I
you're
don't want to
dead?
know. I don't want to
I
know.
can't edit this by myself. Don't die.
I don't want to know. Maybe don't tell me.
Okay. No, if it appears on my right, your left, I won't know because that's hidden by my notes. So good
Okay.
luck with that.
All right, cool. Well, let's so how was your reading challenge, CJ?
Okay, so like I said, I've just about finished all the books on my October spooky reading list. So over the next few months, I'm going to have plenty of book recommendations for everybody. Today, I'm just going to talk about two books that I read, which are on very opposite ends of the recommendation spectrum.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're going to start with the good one, though. So the good
Okay.
one was The September House by Carissa Orlando, which gets all the stars from me. It is fucking fantastic. So the September House is about a woman who lives in a very haunted house all year long. But September is the month where the haunting really ratchets into high gear. And this happens every year like clockwork. September 1st, extra ghosts start appearing, the thing in the basement starts getting even more powerful, and by the end of the month, all hell is pretty much breaking loose in this house. So this book has a lot of ghostly horror and a little bit of gore when it comes to describing how these ghosts came to be, you know, how they were murdered and by whom. Overall, though, it's firmly a supernatural horror book, not a slasher horror book, which is a large reason why I loved it, but not the only reason.
Could you just take a vacation during September?
So I was wondering that too. That was like one of my main questions. And I can't really answer it because this book you really have to read not knowing anything. You have to go into it blind because it will just amaze you and impress you and just blow you away. So I can't answer that, but I was thinking that too. And that question gets answered about halfway through the novel.
Okay, so we do have an answer. Okay, good. Because if you told me there was no answer, I would also be like, well, that you're just way too out there.
I mean, the short answer is that the woman who lives there loves this house and doesn't want to leave. It's like her dream home, ghosts aside. But there's also a more intense reason, which you will find out if you read the book.
CJ, would you stay?
Again, there's one or two things that might make me stay because there's some ghosts there that are very entertaining. There's one ghost that brings her tea all the time, and I was like, that is the best ghost ever. I could deal with that. The other ghost, though, fuck no, I'm not dealing with that shit. So it is definitely spooky. It definitely raises a lot of questions. And one of the reasons I loved it is that, you know, my favorite horror stories tend to be all over the spectrum. Like, it's multifaceted. There are plenty of scares in this book, but it's also darkly funny. There's hatred in the book, but there's also a lot of love. It just tugs at a lot of emotions and complex topics. It tackles marriage, difficult mother-daughter relationships, aging, friendship. You know, I laughed, I cried, I cheered, I cowered in fear. It was a good time. And like I said, I won't say anything more because you really need to go into it with fresh eyes. But I will say that the last 40 pages of The September House blew me away. I was not expecting it. And it was fantastic. Carissa Orlando is my new favorite horror author. And I cannot wait to see what she puts out next. Whenever and whatever that is, I will be reading it.
Okay. Should I read it?
No.
Really?
You should not. I mean, you could try.
I could read a lot scarier.
That's true. You can.
Like, episode 13 didn't scare me. It just gave me a few, like, creepy crawlies on the back of my neck.
I feel like I'm not as good a judge of spookiness factor anymore because I am so immune to things that I didn't find this book scary, but there's definitely a lot of scary elements. So if you're not used to anything scary like I am, it would definitely freak you the fuck out.
Okay, I'm going to read it. But I'm going to wait till October. I'm adding it to October of next year.
I think I recommended it to a coworker of mine the other day, and he finished it in like 2 days, and he loved it. So I've already recommended it to somebody else, and they said it was a good pick. So I think if you're going to try yourself with a scary story, you should give this one a shot.
We should have saved it for the podcast, woman.
Oh, I know. I can't tell. I couldn't tell. And I was just too excited. I didn't want to wait till like next October to read it. So it just came out, and I was like, I'm getting my hands on this thing.
Okay.
So I read it.
Now, what is your sucky book?
Oh, God. Okay, here we go. So, however much I love The September House, this is how much I loathe this book. It is called Hell House by Richard Matheson. Now, people who love spooky books may recognize this title. If you Google scariest books you'll ever read or 50 horror novels you need to read, Hell House will most likely pop up on a lot of those lists. I've seen it recommended for years. It's always been on my TBR list, but this was the year I decided to read it.
Oh, it's from 1971.
Yes. So I don't want to go into too much detail here because I do plan on posting a full book review of Hell House on wellreadtart.com in the coming months. And yes, I will preface what I am about to say with the fact that Hell House was written in the 1970s by a man, and it was published in the 1970s when I believe most of the publishing house editors and executives were also men. Read into that what you will as I begin this. Hell House is disgusting. And not in a horror sense, in a pervy, lecherous, rapey sense.
Oh.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. You know, on the lesser side of being wrong, Hell House is filled with mansplaining and male characters who are filled with an annoying amount of machismo and sense of their own importance. But on the greater and definitely more alarming side of being wrong, Hell House is composed of many gratuitous and sometimes horrific sexual acts, ranging from forced lesbian sex to, prepare yourselves everyone, being raped by the splintering wooden phallus of a Jesus statue. I'll just let that sink in for a minute. So, I'm not an idiot. I know that many horror stories incorporate sexual violence as a way to induce terror, and with a lot of success. The Exorcist, for example, has Reagan masturbating with the crucifix, which is a scene that really shocked viewers back in the day and still shocks a lot of people now who are watching it. Rosemary's Baby is another one, a woman raped by the devil, terrifying. I feel like the difference between, say, that scene in The Exorcist and what happens in Hell House is that the scene in The Exorcist is sexual, but it's not supposed to be sexy. The audience very clearly knows what's happening is wrong, and we're supposed to feel very uncomfortable about it. Hell House is different. I feel like the author takes great pleasure in depicting such horrific, non-consensual sexual violence and dehumanizing women. There are phrases in this book that make me think the author was jacking off every time he wrote a paragraph, and that he was writing these scenes to help other disturbingly like-minded men jack off, and I am just not here for that. If this book were submitted to an agency or a Big Five publisher today, it would be immediately scrapped, and somebody would probably report this guy to the police. So if someone tells you to read Hell House, take that recommendation with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Da-da-da. There you go.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
CJ. Okay.
Yeah. It was disturbing. So hopefully you have better book recommendations to give.
I mean, I don't know if I have like book recommendations, but I'm happy to report that I got through my entire list except for one book, because by the time I reached my point of needing to read Nos 482, I was just kind of over the murder thing.
Oh,
like
yeah,
serial killer, darkness. I wanted more spooky than like thrillers.
Yeah, because you had a lot of like thriller stuff in there, didn't you?
Yeah, and I had previously, before October, read some thriller stuff, and I was just like, I can't do it. So I did skip that one. But because of the move and some family stuff that happened, I wasn't actually able to then delve into my reserve title list, because I had 3 books that I specifically picked because I was thinking I would not finish every book, that I was going to end up DNFing a few of them. I actually thought I would DNF Nos 482, but I ended up not even touching it. So I would like to say I'm a winner because I did refinish the list overall.
Yay!
I read the Cassidy Blake series by V.E. Schwab. I read the whole thing in 3 days. Okay. Love it to death. Even though it's middle grade, she did not write it down. It's for adults too.
How many books are there in that series?
There are 3.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
I'm hoping she writes more. And honestly, it's middle grade. You can read a book in a day. Yeah. I think I read a book. It took me an hour and a half to read each book. I
read the first one. I really liked it. And yeah, I got through it really, really quickly.
Well, I recommend finishing the series. She ends it really, really well. It's all wrapped up. It's super believable. The 3rd book has a lot of fun in like a cool, spooky way. There's a lot of fun in it. Cassidy's personality really comes out in the other 2 books. I loved it. Then I read episode 13, which I did mostly like until the end.
Yeah, I hated the end. The ending was just awful. Awful.
It was. I think one of my biggest problems was that there was so much distance because of the style of writing that was used, because it was done more of script formats or journal entries. It wasn't actually any narrative to it. So it kept a distance to the book, and I wasn't able to really delve in. And because of all the different characters in it that were shown, it was just really hard for me. So I liked it. I didn't mind reading it, but I won't be shouting at it. Yeah. Then I read The Whisper Man, which I really didn't like.
Oh, that's right. You were not a fan.
Yeah. I was so not a fan of that book. I was bored. Okay, you and my best friend both gave this book 5 stars.
I do recall liking this one an awful lot.
Yes, and I feel that you both told me that it was spooky and scary and you could not believe the book. So I went in going, this is going to be good, and I hated every moment of it.
I remember it being spooky, but then also making me afraid of child kidnappings.
I think you thought it was spooky because the little boy had like invisible best friends. Because there was the boy on the floor, and there was his best friend at school, the invisible best friend. That didn't spook me out at all because it was too realistic. Kids have imaginary friends. Like, that was not spooky for me. But the whole thing of the kidnappings and even the serial killerness of it, all I saw were the same themes being played out again.
In the book or as in other books?
In the book as in other books. Like the whole same, we have the detective that fell too hard into his work and lost everything and wants the redemption in the end. However, because there was one narrative in first person, the rest were in third, I expected a very different ending because of the way it was written. And I was that's what kept me going, because I was kind of excited that in some way the different narrations and point of views were going to reveal a story plot in the end, and it didn't, and that made it even more annoying to me. Why use like first person? I would even say present tense versus every other character having a third person narration. It didn't like fit to the story, and it didn't actually help. So that annoyed the crap out of me. Then I read White Fox, which is by Sarah Faring, and if anyone has been following my blog for a while, they know that I gave her debut book a 1 star and threw the book across the room.
You were brave to try another one by her.
And that had all to do with the ending, because the book was really, really, really good until the ending.
The other one, or the one you just read?
The other one. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe someone, she got really bad reviews on it. She realized where she went wrong. Let's give her another chance, because I think she has a lot of potential. But as I've learned, she can't write endings to save her life. And I think she did get really scared by her feedback with the first book, that she watered her sophomore book down so much that everything I liked about her was missing, and it just lacked anything to anchor the story anywhere.
That's disappointing.
However, she did make one reference to her first book, which I don't want to give away because it gives away the whole end of the book, but there was one small reference that I was like, oh, I like that nod. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But so I read that, and then I had Hide, which if anyone's listened to our podcast book club, you will know all about that. I'm not going to tell you guys here. Then I read The Hollow Places, which, oh my fucking lord, I think she's my new favorite author.
She's fantastic.
Holy crap.
Kingfisher is amazing.
The Hollow Places was the best book.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I will shout this. I'm ready to read every book by her. I am ready.
Yeah, she's good.
First off, a whimsical horror book. Could this be a new genre? People want cozy horror, but what about whimsical horror?
But still terrifying.
She reminds me so much of Shauna Maguire, because it's the same kind of... Oh, she does this amazing novella series. I recommend getting it from your library because they're small. You don't want to deal with them. Sorry if anyone's hearing anything. My dog is wandering around the house. So he's clomping around.
I thought maybe it was the ghost and I was going to have to do some shit over the computer to exorcise you or something.
Just throw the holy water.
The power of Christ compels you.
But if you can find her Wayward Children series at the library, it's so much fun. It's about these children who disappear through these portal doorways because they don't fit in the world they live in. However, something happens, they end up getting stuck back in the real world, and they all end up, because of their psychological issues, all end up coming to live together at the Wayward home, or at the home for wayward children. Aww. And most of the time, the book is just them searching to go back to the world that they lost. But it's heartfelt. I recommend it. It's so good. It leans a little on fantasy, but not a massive amount. But the style of writing is the same. She does this whimsy of lightheartedness that Kingfisher was pulling off. And what I loved about Kingfisher is, even though the story is absurd, let's be honest, the hollow place, that doesn't exist. However, she kept it so grounded in reality.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to give away the story, but I feel that I want to say this one thing, which is essentially a lot of times people will end up into the other alternative world or wherever the story takes them, and they don't end up ever getting to come back, and the horror happens there, and they probably die, and they lose their ability to come back to Earth, and that's what happens. However, that is not what Kingfisher does. They're able to come back, which was the scariest part of the whole book for me, is that period. CJ's nodding her head because she knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I love it. I loved how it ended. I loved everything about it. The writing was great. The characters, the coffee shop guy.
Oh, he was hilarious. I loved him.
I'm in love. That literally made my entire October.
That is awesome. You should read The Twisted Ones. I always get The Twisted Ones and The Hollow Places confused, but it's The Twisted Ones. That's the first T. Kingfisher book I read. And it is similar. It's less sci-fi than The Hollow Places.
But I love sci-fi. So.
But it's so good. It's so creepy. And it has a lot of what you like in this one, too.
I'm reading them all.
Yeah.
So whatever I can get my hands on.
Yeah. And
then I finished up with The Beast is an Animal, which is more of a, how do you word it? Castle-y time periods.
Like Renaissance, medieval?
Kind of medieval-ish. Fantasy horror about this family, this mother and her daughters, because she has twins, and the town stops losing or it starts losing its crops and its animals, and they think it's to do with the fact that the mother had twins, so they get ostracized out into the forest, and the dad stays in town to, quote, protect them and bring them back, but he ends up, like, moving on with his life, blah, 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 so they take revenge, and then at one point kill the whole town, and then one little girl, like, survives, and how she defeats. So it's kind of that. It was interesting. I appreciated the atmosphere. It was very atmospheric read. For some reason, I was thinking it was like a Beauty and the Beast retelling in a haunted version.
Oh.
The Beast is an animal.
Yeah.
I don't know why I got that impression. It was okay. I mean, I didn't hate reading it, but the ending fell flat.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. So that was my October reads. But I'm really proud. I really stuck with it. It was hard with everything going on, but I did it.
Were you going to read The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon?
No. The reserved books I had were The Orphan of Cemetery Hill, Only Good Indians, and The Final Girl Club or whatever by Grady Hendrix.
Okay. You should add Winter People by Jennifer McMahon to your list for next year. That is one of my favorite horror books. Jennifer McMahon is a brilliant writer. She's written a ton of books. Not all of them are great, but this one just stands out amongst all of them. It's so creepy.
And it's scary, not thrillery, correct?
It's scary. It's haunting. She does hauntings usually.
Okay.
And her new one is a bit of a demonic possession, but this is haunting.
Over horror for the time being. And, not horror, sorry. Wow. This is a horror-ish podcast. I don't mean that. I'm over thrillers.
Yes. Yes.
I need to keep my mouth shut. I've almost ruined everything.
The Winter People is about a woman whose daughter dies, and she tries to bring her daughter back from the dead.
Okay.
And she kind of succeeds.
Okay. All right.
It is so good.
And then, I know everyone's been dying to hear our thoughts on this, but Fall of the House of Usher, friends. Yeah.
That's my take on it.
CJ didn't finish it. I did.
I stopped after a little bit into episode 3 because I just couldn't take it anymore. It was so bad.
And I slept through like the middle part of the entire series and then woke up for the last 2 episodes.
Which is also not a ringing endorsement for the series.
I do want to say there's going to be a few spoilers.
Yeah.
For the listeners, because I want to say a few things that kind of spoil the show, but it really shouldn't, but it will. So I'm just going to like put the warning out there. Skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
But we all know that isn't a spoiler, is that it's based on Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes. But I've never read that book. It's the Fall of the House of Usher, right? By Edgar Allan Poe? Or The House of Usher? I've never read that one by him. So I did not know anything about the plot going in.
I haven't either. Actually, Edgar Allan Poe isn't my favorite author. Like a lot of horror readers like. I just can't get into him.
He's okay. I wouldn't say he's my favorite.
Exactly. I've read the typical like Tall Tale Heart and then the House one. I forget what it's called. And then The Raven, because everyone I feel like has to read The Raven in school. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's all based on a lot of Poe stories. So the main plot line throughout the series is the Fall of the House of Usher. Then they have a lawyer in it, which is based on a character from his only full-length novel. Oh. But what essentially happens is if anyone's read The Fall of the House of Usher, a guy makes a deal, not with the devil, but with somebody, because he made it very clear it was not the devil.
Okay.
To essentially live the perfect life, never be committed for any of the crimes they ever commit. All they have to give up is that 2 weeks before the guy would die anyway. His entire line will die before him. So that's the whole point. You pretty much get that idea within like the first or second episode. You don't know why they're dying per se, but you know that they're all going to die and that like how did this happen? I feel like
in the first episode you just see what Carla Gugino, whatever her name is, show up and I'm like, oh, you're obviously a demon who's going to make a deal for somebody's soul or whatnot. So I know what's going to happen.
So the middle episodes, the 6 middle episodes, because he has 6 kids, are each one of their deaths, which is supposedly based on more Edgar Allan Poe stories. They each die based on Edgar Allan Poe. So that's what I'm giving away as the reveal. Because I want to say that as watching this series, the reasons that I kept watching Mike Flanagan shows, and I've done this every year for the last 5 years, is because of his spooky, his twistiness, his creep factor, not for gruesome deaths.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
And I was so disappointed, and I know you were too, because you made it to a couple of deaths. Dude, the last one was the worst.
The first one was pretty bad, so I'm glad I bowed out before we got any further. I don't even want to know. Don't tell me. I probably should have known.
I already did tell you.
Twitching all night long. Did you? Thank God I forgot.
On previous conversation, I already told you. Good. Anyway, so it gets really boring. I slept through them all because I was just like, what the fuck is the point? We know it's going to happen. There's not going to be a saving grace because the show starts with them already dead.
Yeah, we all know they're all dead, so the mystery's gone. Yeah, just how did they die? And I really don't care. And I feel like it's just a game of how disgusting can we make this each way that they die? And I'm just not there for that.
There was no creep factor.
No,
also, I feel... Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Also, there's a heartfeltness to his stories. Haunting of Bly Manor is one of the most heartfelt, spookier things of just the love and the family. And even the Red Room in The Haunting of Hill House has the most like heartfelt like part about it too. It's just there's this warm family aspect in every every show that was completely missing from Fall of the House of Usher. The essence of who Flanagan was missing.
Yeah.
The reason I watched this was missing. I wasn't spooked at all.
No.
At all.
Nothing was scary except how bad it was. That scared me.
I mean, the whole time you sit there because he's telling the story. I also hate narrative storylines like that where it's like a story within a story. I hate it. The only one that works is Princess Bride. Hate it. But he's sitting there talking to the one guy, and the whole time that door is open behind him, right? Like, you saw it.
Yeah.
So I'm staring into the dark depths of that door, expecting a Flanagan reveal.
Nothing.
It was pointless.
Yeah.
So pointless.
That's the same reason I started watching. I watched The Haunting of Hill House. I really liked that one. And yes, it had gore, like the autopsy in it. But it was still a lot of ghosts and, a lot of scares. And like you said, a lot of emotional connection to the characters. But it was scary. It was ghosty. That's why I liked it. And I tried Bly Manor. I couldn't get into it. I loved Midnight Mass. But I still feel like a lot of those were supernaturally. This one just felt like gratuitous gore. And I feel like that's how it developed with American Horror Story too. Like, I love the first season of American Horror Story. The second season, it just started to get a little bit too gory for me and relying more on that than like spookiness. And then by the third season, they completely lost me because I just didn't want to watch people get tortured in every damn episode.
Have you seen like the previews for the newest season?
I refuse to watch because I probably can't handle. I can't do gore and torture and all that stuff. So I just want ghosts. Just give me ghosts.
See, Midnight Club was my second favorite of his, which came out last year.
I love that one. That was really good.
It was so heartfelt and sweet and spooky. And I swear, they set it up for a season 2. And I'm sitting here like, where's my season 2? Because you left so much open-ended.
Yeah.
What is up with that house and the tattoos and the crazy lady who has the commune bullshit in the forest?
That's right.
Yes, they left it open. They left it so open-ended. And then we're not getting a season 2.
And I feel like that episode, I don't know what the actor's name is, but in the Midnight Club, the guy who has, I think it's cancer or something, maybe it's Hodgkin, I don't know. They all had something. But I think he was dating another girl in the show, like in the episodes, but he was not doing well and he was very sickly in the show. And they made him like this sexy character in the Fall of Usher. And I could not get my mind there because I just imagined him, this frail, sickly boy from the last show, and he is now typecast as that. Maybe if they hadn't put him in such a different role, like if he hadn't been this sex-crazed 19-year-old or whatever it was, I could have maybe gotten past that initial viewpoint of him. But no, this was too deep a plunge in the other direction, and I just was like, no. And then with Carla Gugino, whatever, I can't even know how to say your name, but how she was like the demon, and he was going toward her on the bed. I'm like, oh no, man! I'm like, it's like your mother. What are you doing? I couldn't do it. I know.
She's such a lovable mother in Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, that was a misstep. Yeah.
Sucks. Do I have a sixth one in me to give him another chance if he does it again?
I mean, I will, because I feel like there's not a lot of good horror out there, so I'm always looking for some.
True.
So I will give it a shot.
Though I keep hearing good things about Talk to Me. Everyone's obsessed with it.
I have to watch that. Is it out on streaming yet?
I don't think
Free streaming yet? I have to have a watch party with a friend.
Free as in like you're already paying subscription.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't want to pay the $25 for it.
Ugh, I know, right?
Yeah.
But yes.
Also,
Cool. Well, yes.
I was going to say, with the fall of the House of Usher. So the main reason I tuned in was spookiness. I was hoping for good spooky vibes. The other is that I have a girl crush on actress Kait in these Flanagan shows. So I love her curly hair and her gorgeous eyes. So what they did to her character in the fall of the House of Usher with that awful straight platinum blonde hair and those weird power outfits, I was just like, well, there goes my only other reason for watching, and I just switched it off because not even she could redeem it for me. Poor
She
Kait.
dies off so early too.
Does she? I don't think I even made it that far.
Is she the second or the third death? She's like the second or third one.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
see. It would have been over anyway. The minute she's off screen, I'm like, meh. Meh.
Well, friend, did you have anything else to update everyone on?
So we had talked about wanting to see A Haunting in Venice
Yes.
when it came out. So I did go see it in the theaters. And it was good. It's another fun, albeit complicated, Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie, whodunit mystery novel type movie. And it's based on her book Halloween Party, which I have not read, so I didn't know anything about it going in. But it's good. It's good sleuthing, good intrigue. It keeps you guessing. I'd say it's definitely more entertaining than scary. There's a couple of jump scares in there, which to me are a bit annoying. I think a lot of us find them annoying, but they're kind of par for the course when you're making a movie like this for a Halloween time too. There's a seance scene in the beginning that's probably the scariest part. So I think if you could probably get through that if you have like your partner there telling you when to look away and when you can look back again. But if you've seen movies like, not you, but if people have seen movies like Drag Me to Hell, this scene won't bother you at all.
No, I don't think I've seen that.
You should not watch Drag Me to Hell. I don't think you can handle Drag Me to Hell, which is a shame because it's a brilliant horror movie, but you should not watch that.
All right, I think I might have to put up, because I keep seeing previews for Haunting in Venice, and I keep wanting to watch it, but I will put it on the daytime and I will not watch it alone. I will also probably not watch it for the next 2 months when I'm living with my in-laws, because my in-laws live out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, where it's so dark you can see the gases in the Milky Way galaxy.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we've set up rules for this house day. One, never leave Kate alone in the house. So I will attempt to watch this in February or March of next year.
It's a good Valentine's Day movie. Nothing says romance like snuggling together in fear.
Right? Cuddles, cuddles, cuddles.
Yes, exactly. No, I think you should give it a try because in the beginning it's scary, but then it gets into like more mystery type stuff, and it's just entertaining, and I think you'd enjoy that part.
Ooh, okay. I really want to. I feel like you're telling me it's vibes of like Haunting of Hill House. Scary.
Oh, it's much tamer than Hill House.
Oh, then I can totally do it. Okay.
Oh, it's way tamer than that.
Hill House. Is it less than Hill? Not Hill House. His house, right? Which one did you make me watch? His House.
Oh, nothing like His House.
Because I watched that through cracked fingers the whole time.
No, this is like Baby. This is like a step up from Casper. Okay.
Oh, I'll be fine then.
Yeah, it's that one. The seance scene's the scariest, and there's a bathroom scene, which I don't like bathrooms because
that's in the theater.
That's a necessary room, and like I don't like ghosty shit popping up in bathrooms because we all need that room at some point.
This is why it fucked me over.
What did?
It.
Oh, that's right, with the
90s mini-series version. Yeah. It's more. Yeah. It's also the communal showers in the locker room.
There's a small
lives in the fucking drains.
There's a small scene with this. It's just a jump scare, but then you're good. That's pretty much the last scare.
But it's not in the pipes, correct? It's more of just in the room.
Yeah.
Okay, I can handle that.
Yeah.
Okay. I still get scared of the pipes. I still struggle to turn my back on the water in the shower.
Do you know what scarred me as a child? Watching Ghostbusters 2, the slime one with the slime river underneath the city, and then she goes to run the baby a bath, and she turns away, and the goo starts going into the tub, and then she turns back, and there's this horrible goo creature reaching out of the bathtub. I was terrified to take a bath for years. Years.
And people wonder why we're so fucked up.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, listeners, I just want to remind you all that this will be our last content. Wow. See, I told you that I have not done blah, blah, blah yet in this episode, and it has to happen. This is my blah, blah, blah moment. Anyway, listeners, I just want to remind you all this will be our last content recap for the year because we are taking a season break in the month of December. Yay! But don't worry, we will be returning January 4th to our regularly scheduled podcast listening. CJ and I are just here to enjoy the holidays. It's been a crazy year.
Yep.
Also, don't forget that we are reading Rouge by Monica Awad for the end.
No, Mona Awad.
Oh, wow.
Or
I was so
Awad.
focused
I don't
on
know how to say her
her
name.
last name that I totally fucked up the first name. It's
Mona.
Rouge by Mona Awad. And if you'd like to help and support us, you can use one of our affiliate links in the show notes to purchase it through bookshop.org. We get a small kickback at no extra cost to you. And if you're listening and watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. We're also a podcast available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart. We hope you all have a great week. Until next time, friends.
Bye.